And we're on. My friend, it's such an honor to have you back. You have such a special place, in my heart. We just celebrate our 600th episode. And man, I wouldn't believe without you. We know each other since the first episode. I follow you guys since day one. So, man, to have you back on the show, it's such an honor. But for people that maybe don't recognize you, who the hell are you?
I'm Steve, and I play in a couple of bands, one being Belvedere and one being This Is a Standoff. 600 episodes? That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. But it's because of people and band like you, that always make that scene so fun, man. And I'm blessed to still, are able to do that in a real studio in Quebec and everything. I know there's a few out there, but I'm fucking lucky.
That's awesome. Congrats, buddy. That's great. Thanks for having me
But
back.
But we're not there to talk about my 600 episode. We're there to talk about that upcoming crazy record that you guys gonna release. It's Belvedere. It's such a beautiful story since the beginning, but it was hard and it was not easy because the scene kind of fell down when you guys keep pushing it, and you were there in the rough year. But right now things is so different. But first of all, how you felt with that new record?
Yeah, it's so this is our sixth record called Hindsight is the Sixth Sense, and we're really excited about it. Yeah, it's been a tough couple of years, but it's been, I'm really happy where we are right now. And unfortunately, with shows kind of canceling this yet last year, we're sort of waiting to get going again. But on a good note is that we were able to write this record, which we weren't planning on doing, and it's something I'm really proud of, and I'm excited to get it out and hopefully start touring here soon.
Yeah, cross finger.
Yeah.
But it's cool because I spoke with a lot of bands during that pandemic, and it
Hmm.
was kind of different for everyone. There's a few bands that did nothing,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
they're waiting, for things to come to normal, back to normal. But there's a couple of bands that choose that time to do a record. Just
Mm.
like we have time, let's do it. And I think
Yeah.
it's something cool. It's weird to release it in a time where you cannot tour and see the fan, meet the fans,
Yeah.
and we know Belvedere is a live band. But
Hmm.
there's way more people right now at home listening to music and being aware of the scene. So I think it's a good thing for a lot of people to have a new Belvedere record to listen right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, when things shut down, we were just about to go on a Canadian Western Canada tour, and then we were supposed to go to Europe. So things canceled right, a few weeks before we were going, and so for the first little while, it was a shock to everybody, right? So, but I started doing these online streaming shows with like Manchester Punk Festival and Spam Fest, and that was super fun because I got to play and communicate with people. And then it was kind of like, all right, well, this is probably going to be a long thing. So, Casey brought forward some songs, and a few of us had some riffs and ideas, and we just started going at it. And I think that was April or May, and by September we had the majority of the album kind of demoed, at least, written and demoed. And we worked, on the rest of the demos right up until December when it was time to actually, flip on the record button for real. And so, in the meantime, we talked to Thousand Islands and Lockjaw and had everything set, and it all kind of fell into place. So yeah, you kind of take the bad stuff that's going on and just try to make the best out of it. And I think we did that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the way to see it. We're in kind of the same boat at the end. The whole fucking world. We just realized that.
Yeah.
Nobody know where the ship's going, but everybody's doing something, and I think it's beautiful to see that the scene, even if it took a really hard hit, are still going, and people are ready. And I know a lot of people put their music budget into buying stuff, so it's really cool. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw maybe more people listening to Belvedere or This Is a Stand Up during the pandemic. I felt that way more people were listening to music.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know we definitely tried to give a lot of music for people. So between Belvedere and reissuing these This Is a Standoff vinyl, and so we tried to put a lot of stuff out there, and we had different merch out there, and the fans really came forward for us, and which was awesome. And yeah, like, you know, I was busy doing a lot of side things too. I did that Disney thing with Punk Rock Factory, and I did you know, a collaboration with Roger and Matt and a few other people there for Mikey's ukulele show as well. And you know, you just try to keep busy, you know, like you try to keep your family healthy and have a great time and keep the kids engaged, keep my kid engaged, and try to keep yourself engaged. You know, I certainly have fallen down the Netflix, you know, hole for quite a long time, but I just can't sit there and do that all the time, right? So I have to do something, or it's not good for my soul. So it was really nice to be able to create and put some effort into something.
Yeah, maybe it's my fault. I always said, you know, I don't have time for series and anything. Maybe
Yeah.
life to me a lot this time. I get to know. Yeah, I listen to everything I wanted to see. So right now I'm ready to get back on it and just like
Yeah.
live the life I used to be. You know, but that's crazy. You're like me. You know, I cannot sit doing nothing. You know, I think that life, you know, happens so fast that you always have to do something creative, you know, or something that challenge you or put you out of your comfortable zone. And that's what I do. I wrote reviews. I'm doing story punk about band and everything. It's just like you said, keep yourself busy and, you know, not try to think too much.
Yeah. And, you know, for some people, they just kind of like hung out, and that's totally cool too. It's not, you know, I don't think there's a right way of doing this or getting through this. So, you know, I was thankful that I was able to be at home with my son a lot this year, and that's good too, you know, because I was going to be away a lot. And this was a really good year to be home because he's 5 now. So, lots of good changes going on and lots of growth, from him. So it's cool to be there for it.
Yeah, it's a thing that we don't realize, you know, but you know, you tour a lot, so there's so many days that you're not there, and they grow up so fast. So, you know, I've got my little girl a week, you know, and the other week she's with her mother. So, you know, I'm just a week, and I'm like, wow, you grow up so much.
Yeah.
So when you're off for a month or something like that, you came home and you know it's you have to catch, you know, those days and everything. So it's cool that you took time. You know, I know a lot of artists were like, man, it's so cool to be at home right now, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of, you know, I have a lot of buddies that are, you know, full-time touring musicians. I have a booking agency, so I book a lot of bands. So of course I kind of speak to a lot of bands that really want to get touring again. And a lot of them have said the same thing, like it's been awesome being home with the kids, but they also, you know, a lot of them are like, but it's time to rock, you know? So I think everyone's looking forward to hopefully sometime soon, getting at it again.
Yeah, yeah. I'm maybe the most optimistic person in the world, but I think that in a couple of months, we're gonna have some great news, and we felt that, and we see it. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
happening in the States, so let's see what's happened in a few weeks. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see a show next year's, and you know, we're gonna laugh about that, and you know, see each other's, and you know, speak about how crazy that year and a half was. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be positive, especially given that I've booked some of these tours 4 times now. I'd like to keep being positive, and, you know, I don't be like, oh, man, it's never going to happen, and then book another, you know, book it again for the 5th time. So, you know, I have to be positive too. You know, it's part of the job, but it's also how I feel too, and I hope that we see some good things soon.
Because you know, I'm laughing, but it's a tough thing. You know, it's a, you know, it's your work in a way, and you know, dealing shows, and you know, it's such confusing at some point, and it's chaos. You know, because you're always on the next thing, but it's always came back to the first round. So yeah, man, and I'm sure that every goddamn show gonna be sold out. People gonna go crazy, man, and a lot of
Yeah.
people believe me, but I think that you know, even people that were not really attempting to show will go because it's just the thing. When you lose something or you know you cannot do something, you just want to go there.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can't.
you know, everybody's going to be in a different position, and I hope that things are flying, you know, for the first little while. So, but you know, every country's different, right? That's the thing I have to look at a lot is, you know, the UK is very different than what's going on in Canada. It's very different what's going on in Europe and the United States. So, that is my challenge right now. Is it's not just like one answer for everybody. You know, everybody's going to have, you know, what's it gonna look like touring Europe? You know, are you gonna be able to go from country to country? Like, is it, you know, that's a lot of stuff where people are like, you know what, I want to wait for this to settle and then try again next year. I don't want to keep pushing, you know. So, you know, it's not just one thing to worry about for sure. But yeah, I'm positive that things will be moving in a good direction. So I just can't wait to play.
You know, with the new records, I'm always asking, is it more tough for you guys to create a record? Since I know you challenge a lot yourself musically, lyrically, but or
Mhm.
is it something that, you know, with the experience, it's more easy to do?
I think, you know, because the last record that I did was 5 years ago, right? And so you sometimes do. I don't write all the time. I usually write in sort of clumps. I kind of like do an album, don't do any writing for a year, do something else, you know. So, and so sometimes you do have to kick the rust off the brain a little bit. Um, but I think, you know, I'm lucky that I'm in a band with my buddy Casey, and we have, you know, two new members, Ryan and Dan, who not only are they good players and can play all the old stuff, but also, you know, we're songwriters too, and that was a big thing about them joining the band is they had to be able to collaborate because that's how we do, I think, our best work. And so yeah, you know, it's there is a little bit of transition, you know, just kind of practicing, throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall as far as lyrics go and ideas, and just taking the time to go back and refine them. Is this good enough? No, go back again. Try this, you know, try this until, you know, we feel like it's ready to go. And I think, you know, I can only guess, but I felt like, you know, with the new guys, we sort of had earlier iterations of songs, and I would be like, no, you know I wrote this, but this sucks. So let's just like not redo it, but like let's just go back, you know, because I think it can be better. Um, and so yeah, I mean, we do try to push it a little bit, but you know, also having Scott and Jay not being in the band now, you know, they were in a band since the '90s, so you know that's in the back of my head. Like I want to keep pushing. I want this to be good. I want this to be great. And I think we did it. And you know, it took a while, but I think I'm really proud of this record, and I think people that are Belvedere fans will like it.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not so different. You know,
No,
it's a new
yeah,
vibe, a new energy. I
hmm
would call it new energy, but
yeah,
it's still Belvedere, and we felt that, and it's cool because I know those guys have, you know, by themselves a lot of experience, so I'm sure the chemistry went really easy and, you know, natural.
yeah, yeah. The guys are great people, and super eager, and you know, a lot of this stuff is new for them in terms of the touring. Like one of their first, well, their first show was in Medicine Hat, but then the next show was in you know, in Colombia in front of like 20,000 people. So you know, you can only get prepared for that so much, right? So it was a big jump up, and they did great. And you know, and we were all still trying to find ourselves a little bit, you know, like, you know, trying to get as tight as we could. And then, you know, we got home from Colombia and then just went back to work and jammed a bunch and wrote a bunch, and it feels really good. And even though we haven't been able to play together in a while, I feel like much more like a real band, and I feel like the tightness is there. So fuck man, I can't wait to start jamming again.
But that's crazy, and I'm so proud for you. You know, do you remember like when you started up as a kid, the first show?
Yeah, I do. We played on a stage that was it was like a pirate boat, and I can't remember the name of it. It was in Calgary. I can't remember the name of it, but I was in college at the time. I think I just started college, and so I the only people that came to the show were people in my class that I begged to come to the show. And I remember there was like a fog machine coming out of the ship, like the pirate ship or whatever, and it was super goofy. And I don't think it stayed that long. Wish I could remember. But anyways, that was '96, I think, or '95 or something. But I remember my first show, and I'll tell you, it's funny. Like I don't think I ever would have thought that I'd be doing it this long, and done the coolest stuff that we've been doing. I really do pinch myself. You know, sometimes when I see the bands we've toured with and the places that we've seen, we're very lucky.
Yeah, yeah, and congratulations, man. You're such a part, a huge part of the punk rock scene, history. And I'm doing a lot of story punk right now. And, when you see band like DOA, it can getting frustrated, how much time they spend on it and how much energy and not being the thing like, maybe like Black Flag or something, but now the recognition, people realize that, and I think it was the same, you had your hard years where, there was not a lot of people and, but after that, it was a huge wave of fans discovering Belvedere, like, wow, man, what's that jam, man? Where they were? And where the fuck you guys were, man? We were there playing in front of 15, 20 people. But, that it proved that, as Canadian, we have, our beautiful history and we, we create such great band, and congratulations to be part of that, man.
Well, I think I should bring you on the road to be my hype man, because sometimes we still play in front of 50 people, and I sometimes need an Eric there being like, "Yeah, man, this is great. This is great." No, I'm kidding. It still is great to play in front of 50 people, but we are lucky that we have gotten onto some bigger stuff, and that some of the shows have gotten bigger than I thought they would have. But you know, it's not really about numbers for me. I just love being out there, and I think people that have followed our band know that because they've seen us in front of 1,000 people and they've seen us in front of 20 people. Like places like Toronto and Montreal where we've played in front of people 8-10 times before we had 20 people there. So we built that up over time, and I think the people that still support our band and come to the shows and they see us in front of these big crowds, I still feel like it's the same show. We're still jumping around and having a good time, and we're older and we don't jump as much as we used to, but try to be a better guitar player and a better singer live now, try to make up for it. But yeah, I think like we try to put a lot of effort in, and the joy and the smiling you see from our band live is real.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of things gonna change again when you get back to the road. I'm sure there's gonna be way more people. I don't know if it's gonna be a hype for a couple of years, but I think we're ready for something. And
Yeah.
everything was kind for taken for granted. It was cool because there's a lot of nostalgia, band getting back, people are excited, kids have 15, fuck them, stay home, party. We go outside, see a punk rock show like 20 years ago. But
Yeah.
there was something magical that was about to happen, and everything stopped. So I'm guessing that when everything start again, of course there's going to be tons of shows, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people responding to that and be more aware of what you guys did, and listening to your records because they had time, and now we have iTunes music and everything. It's there's no effort to do, just the $10 to put a month, and then you can access to every music. It's a sad and it's a beautiful thing. People dig way more into what they love, but it's not giving a goddamn dime to artists. But maybe we can find a way after all of that. In shows, people buy merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
More merch than ever.
But we've never been like a big, like, it's not like our band makes money off records, right? Like we go out there and we tour and we do all that stuff. And back when Napster was a big thing, we supported people stealing music and ripping it, and because it made it so we could tour everywhere. Like where we would go to Colombia or Brazil, and there'd be 300-500 people there singing every word. Well, nobody had the album, but they all had the songs, and that's all we cared about anyways. It wasn't about like put out this music so we can sell this amount of records. It was put out this music so the most amount of people can hear it. And you can always go back and forth as an artist now about Spotify and how crappy they pay and stuff like that, but it's ultimately still, the more people listen to our music, the better I feel about it, and that's all that matters to me. And of course, we're lucky in that we have a really good supportive fan base, and they buy vinyl, they buy t-shirts, they support us, they come to the shows, and not every band is like that, and we feel very lucky for that. But I just want people to hear the tunes, and so of course when we put out a new record, we wanted it to get out there as much as possible. That's why we do interviews. That's why we do, we do all this stuff, because we want as many people to hear it as we can, because there's songs I'm proud of, but we want them to get them out, want them to get out there.
I always say to people, if you have money, encourage them. Go to the show. If you can buy CDs, vinyl, shirts, whatever. And if not, download it, listen to it. But God
Yeah.
damn it, learn the song and sing them live.
Well, and it's hard. Like, we can't get to every town in every country around the world too. So we try our best though. And we are going to be, especially coming up here, if we can make up as much shows as I want to, we will play a lot of small towns and a lot of big towns. So
yeah, I'm
yeah.
at that point when, I can't wait for a guy to spit beer on me. I'm gonna thank him. He'll thank you, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that's another thing. We spoke a bit about that, but covering the whole Canada, it's kind of impossible. And just geographically, it's kind of, you cannot be wealthy on the road, as a band, because, the stop are too long. It's not like Europe or something where you can go easily to town and play kind of every night.
Yeah, I mean, Canada's a funny, it's a huge country, and I think a lot of bands, will come here and do kind of the 15 market big cities, or, big-ish cities. I remember a time when we used to do Sydney to Sydney. We would do 35 shows across Canada, and we would start in BC. We'd do like 10 shows in BC and 5 in Alberta and 4 in Saskatchewan. And we would play a lot of time, and we still didn't, we still have never been to Newfoundland, which is crazy to me. So we definitely have to get there. But we would go all the way out to Nova Scotia and play every little town. And then we'd either circle back through the States, or we would, come back and, do the drive one shot from Toronto to Calgary or something stupid like that. But we did that a lot. We played a lot of small towns, and there was the all ages scene in a lot of the smaller towns were definitely, they were kind of humming a little bit better probably in the early 2000s than they are now. But still, there's lots of dive bars and places we can play in all these little towns. So, I mean, we're going to try and play as many as we can.
I love that. It's, you were born ready.
Yeah. And truthfully, like, we haven't been to the United States in over 15 years, and we definitely need to get back there too. There's lots of fans that probably saw us in the 90s and early 2000s that are getting a little impatient. So I think we need to. We've been spending so much time in Europe and South America the last few years. We should really get down there as well.
I didn't know that. I thought that you did a couple of tour there, maybe 2 or 3 times. It's crazy. 15 years. Wow.
Yeah, we toured the States a lot in the 90s. We were down there 100 days in a row there one time, like between Canada and the States. It was crazy. But I think the last time we were in the States was 2003, and I think that was with the Suicide Machines. And that was probably the last time. Now, I went with This Is a Standoff with Strung Out and Death by Stereo, and I think that was 2009, and that's the last time I toured the States. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because maybe back in the days, every time you go, it's starting over again. It's such a big.
Well, the thing is that there's, as bands know, trying to tour the States, there's work visas and there's all this stuff, and it gets really expensive. And it's one thing when you're touring down there for a month, but for us lately, the last 10 years, it's only, we can only go down for 4 or 5 days at a time. So it gets really tough you can lose money pretty quick doing those kind of tours. And so we haven't really done it that much, where we've been doing a lot of European festivals and stuff. And so it makes it a little easier to do that in 4 or 5 days, or go to Japan for a week or something like that. So, but I want to put some real time down there as well. I just used to like touring down there. It was fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're gonna meet a lot of new fans. That's the cool thing now.
Yeah.
People can easily find you guys, which was not the case when you started up in the 90s.
Yeah, that's
Just
right. No,
the crazy thing, that's the mind blowing about punk rock. Like, people, yeah, it was good, yeah, man, but there was there's no internet or anything. People were really talking about that.
Yeah, when we used to book US tours, I had this magazine called Book Your Own Fucking Life, and it was put out by Maximum Rock and Roll every year, and it eventually became a website. But I had the original. Like, every year I'd get the print version. I'd buy it like whatever, $8, $10. And I would book all my shows off of that. And so, you know, most of the shows we booked weren't even in venues. They were basement shows or frat parties or backyard shows. We'd play down there for a month and play like 2 real venues, you know? So, you know, there was a real underground network for small bands, and we'd play in front of 20 people, and then somebody would buy a keg of beer, and that would be like, you know, pay $5 and come see a band. And we were the band. Like that was, we did that for a lot of years. Like just, you know, hey, maybe we'll sell 2 CDs tonight, you know, and like the next time you go back to Iowa, maybe there'll be 30 people there, you know, and we just kind of did that everywhere in the States. And it was grueling, but it also, I learned a lot, and it taught me a lot, and it changed me a lot. So now when we get to do these crazy shows and stuff, it's like, I'm laughing the whole time, because it's just, I always like juxtapose that in my head. It's just like, you know, I remember what it was like to play this city before in front of, you know, nobody. So it's pretty awesome, man. But, you know, I don't want to paint this like rosy story, like, oh, we're always up in front of 1,000 people. You know, we still play those small shows. You know, they're just not every night.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's a balance, I think, because you
Yeah.
know, I'm the guy that will enjoy myself with just 20 people. I don't fucking care, you know, and I'm always impressed to see band that play their life and don't care the amount of people and just go for it, you know. That's the thing. Music is just an expression, then it doesn't matter how much people are there, you know, and you never know who's there, you know. How many times I saw band and play them on the show, and they came to Quebec and everything, and 5 years later, they have a crowd. You know, it's, you never
Yeah.
know. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, the dedication that you guys, you know, put in the band. And then, you know, I know you're a smart and really intelligent person, but you know, the amount of time you spend like creating like DOA, a road for, you know, Belvedere to, you know, tour and kind of be wealthy, not losing money at least. And you know, you did it in a smart way, and I think that's why, you know, you have so much dedicated fans. They know that. They fucking know that.
Well, yeah, I think because we've slept on most of their floors. We've stayed at their houses. We've drank their beer. Funny when you say wealthy, it's like I've never been on a tour where I felt wealthy, but okay, sure. we definitely have some good break even tours now. So that's good. No,
Yeah,
it's awesome, man, and it's, you know, it's a trip. Like, you know, when you start a band when you're 18, you don't think you're going to be, you know, mid 40s still doing this, and it's you know, I thank my lucky stars that I'm able to still do that, and it's super fun, and it's more than fun. It's what I do. It's who I am. You know, that's what I realized, because, you know, Belvedere's broken up. Then Standoff started. Then we did some reunion stuff with Belvedere. You know, I bounce around. I did an acoustic thing, but I started to realize over time that this is just a part of me, and it's best not to say, you know, I always now just kind of go, well, anything can happen, you know, and just
it's
kind of embrace it and try not to overdo it, because that's what I used to do when we would do 200 plus shows a year. We overdid it, and that caused a lot of friction. But now it's just do as much as we can because we want to, not because we feel like we have to.
it's really interesting point. You know, I think that life is a balance. You know, I'm working insurance. You know, and you know, when you sell something and you want to sell it so much, you don't. It's just
Yeah.
that if you want too much, it doesn't happen. I think it's a balance of not doing a fucking thing and just doing the thing right way and just doing it, you know, with your heart and the passion you can. But you know, if it happened, it happened. If not, if not. And I, you know, I think that when life, you know, reward you, you get it.
Yeah, I think like we'll see how I feel after 100 shows. Maybe we'll do another interview here after that, because it's been 10 years since I've done that many shows. But I'm also really looking forward to it. Like, we've been kind of doing 20, 30 shows a year for about 7 or 8 years, and I always feel like it's not enough. You know, like it's just like I need to double this. You know, I need like 60 or 70. You know, just to feel like I'm doing a little bit more. Because I get in a tour mode like that. Like, as soon as I get on that plane or in that van, I'm like 2 hours in, and it just like, I don't know, you get this like narrow focus, and you're just in tour mode, you know, like you're just a different person, you know, like Yeah, it's different, and it doesn't matter. Like, you've got your family and you love their family or whatever, but you just, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But I definitely get in tour mode pretty quick.
Like traveling, when you
Yeah,
travel, there's no time, there's nothing. You're like, I'm laughing because when I watch, pictures of me on vacation, I look like I'm high on drugs. Like
yeah,
my eyes are. I'm just high on information of being not in my place and learning and being excited. So yeah, it's the same with the tour. When they
yeah,
said it's a drug, it is.
yeah, yeah. No, it is. It's not just that. I mean, I love playing the music that we do, but I find that so much of this is like connection with fans and stuff, and that's what I love more than anything. And I'm not like a green room guy, I kind of go back there and, like, grab a beer or whatever, but I like to go out and, like, hang out with people, and that to me is as important as playing that for that hour or so, is to be able to, like, shake hands with people and, like, take pictures and hang out and talk about stuff and catch up. And for me, a lot of my friends are not in my city, so they're out there that I see them once or twice a year. And that's what's been so hard this last year, is that I haven't seen so many buds because of that. So, yeah, it's a whole thing for me.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. You mentioned things that are like what, shaking hand, taking picture.
Yeah.
It seems like so far away.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like seeing you at the NT, just chatting and everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, can't wait to see you. And like I said, I'm pretty sure in a couple of months we're gonna be way more set of what's coming up. And man, Quebec is waiting to see Belvedere again. Seeing you, man, I can't wait. And congratulations, man. I know you have a lot on your shoulder with that records, but man, take that heat off. People gonna fucking freak out. It's a Belvedere records. It's a goddamn kick-ass Belvedere records.
Thank you.
You just challenge yourself to another level, and that energy is so great, man. And thank you so much for still losing money in the
Yeah,
name of music.
that's right. Well, thanks for having me on, man. I'm glad you like it. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you so much, Steven. You always been generous with me, but I want to thank you so much for the friendship, man. Seeing you going, it's really, you were an inspiration when I started up the radio show, man. Seeing you going and just like keep on going and keep on doing it. It's just, wow, man. I did it. It worked for me. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for saying, Eric. Good to see you, bud.
Before we leave, can you do me a quick ID just saying, hi, this is Steven from Belvedere and you're listening to Prescription Punk Rock? As simple as that.
Sure. Hey, this is Steve from Belvedere, and you are listening to Prescription Punk Rock with my buddy, Eric.
You have the radio voice. If
I don't have the
you
radio.
want to start a podcast one day, man, I'm on. I'm
All
on. And
right.
so many stories, man, that would be rad. Think about it.
Okay. I'm in.
Thank you for your time. I
Okay.
love you, Steven.
Love you too, buddy. Thanks a lot. We'll see ya.
Cheers.